Yeah.
Can I ask how did you feel about your replacement on 2.5 Men? How did
anything I said publicly about him was unfair. It was unfair, and I replaced Michael Fox on Spin City,
right?
In a much less publicized thing.
Right.
His
Parkinson's.
Yeah, and he just couldn't do it anymore. And they're like, we don't want to stop. Hey, what about you? And I'm like, cool. Oh, I thought the people that they got and the time we had was so cool. I invited everyone to my house. I was like, hey, let's watch this together. And then that same night, the 2.5 part 2 is on that same night. And they were all like, God, he's really going to sit and... Well, first of all, they've never been invited to anybody's house that they did a roast with.
Sure.
But I thought, because people were like, hey, man, were you offended by those jokes? I'm like, no, I was in on the joke. What's wrong with you, Yeah. How could you sit there and take all that? I'm like, well, it was part of my job description that night. Anyway, so we watched the roast and we all laughed, and then 2.5 came on, and people were kind of watching me watch it more than they were watching
I
it.
can imagine that. Yeah.
And I was rooting for everybody. Seriously, I was. Because what's the point it's not coming back, right? And you kind of, you want your ex-wife to be happy, right?
Yeah.
You want your kids to be safe.
Yeah.
So I just felt like when he blows up the urn, that should have been the end of part 1, and it just should have said to be continued.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there was things about it. It was a little cheap that they suddenly everybody that loved me all those years was now like, so condescending and critical, and that was super transparent.